Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll talk to an expert who says college needs to be redefined, otherwise it's a pathway to poverty. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, we all know young people who graduated from college with a 4-year degree and just mountains and mountains of debt that they'll never get out of, especially if they have a degree in something that people aren't hiring for these days. To talk about that today, Dan Hooper, he's the Executive Director of ScholarShot. Thanks for coming on the show.
Great to be here, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I grew up in a time when, mom and dad said, you got to go to college, you got to get that 4-year degree, but you're saying it's not for everybody.
Not the 4-year degree. College today, however, is for everyone when you consider you have to have some post-secondary, meaning after high school credential, other than a diploma. A diploma alone in today's market is a path to poverty. So get a 1-year vocational certificate, get an associate degree, or get an undergraduate degree, but don't leave high school and go to work.
Now, you just came out with a book, and I love the title, Fleece You, How American Universities Are Robbing Our Kids and Our Future. That is a bold statement.
It is a bold statement, Jeff, and our university system is completely unaccountable. They take billions of dollars every year in debt and public grants from our students with no commitment to see those students complete. And when those kids drop out, the schools keep the money, and it's game over for those kids. They have debt they can't pay, their grants are frozen, they almost always owe their departing school some funds, which means you can't re-enroll anywhere else. So it's really game over for those kids, and it's largely not their fault.
I can't wait to read the book. I know the conventional wisdom, we've heard this for generations, is, well, there's good debt and bad debt, and student debt is good debt, but you're saying not for everybody.
We have kids at ScholarShot that graduate from a 4-year public university with less than $1,500 total in debt. If you look at your financial situation and want to minimize debt, you can do that.
We found a great overview video. Let's go ahead and roll it now.
If I was put on probation one more time, I would have been kicked out of school. My parents didn't go to school, my 2 older sisters didn't go to school. Everyone knew we wanted a higher education, but we didn't know what that took.
In Texas, 9 out of 10 at-risk kids that get into college drop out. And thankfully with ScholarShot's efforts, 9 out of 10 complete, and those degrees are the tipping point that changes their lives.
Come from a super big family, and I'm the first to graduate from a 4-year university, and now I see my younger siblings wanting to go to school and wanting to finish, and they come and ask me for advice.
Everything we do from cradle through high school is valuable and necessary, but if we don't give these kids a chance to earn career-ready degrees, we've set them up, we've failed them, and we've wasted that K through 12 investment.
With the help of ScholarShot, it helped me get through school.
And Dan, you've been doing this for a while, so you have a lot of success stories now.
We do. We have 187 first-generation degrees that have gone into our workforce. We have 157 active scholars at the moment. They're scattered across the state at 23 public locations, 2- and 4-year universities, and their lives are changing as they go from a high school diploma to a career-ready degree.
It's got to feel good when somebody comes back to you even years later and says, Dan, you changed my life.
It really is a blessing, Jeff. We have a 32-year-old mom, Kamisha, who came to us when she was in her late 20s with an 8-year-old, making $12 an hour in the home health care market, and her grants were frozen. She tried a couple of times on her own, and we got her an associate degree in nursing, and she got hired before graduation at $32 an hour, and she's in the process of buying her first home. Wow. And her daughter is now 12 years old and recognizes, gosh, Mom worked, made a difference, got a degree, and we are in the middle class and out of poverty. And that's what we need to see for our kids, particularly those of first-generation low-income backgrounds.
And it solves a societal problem. I mean, you mentioned nursing. Gosh, I don't think we'll ever get out of this nursing shortage that we're in. And we all became keenly aware of it during the pandemic. So you're able to steer young people into careers that are hiring as soon as they get something.
Right, and we know that our graduates are exiting poverty. We track their first year salaries between $35,000 and $55,000. But they come from households that earn typically $30,000 or less a year.
I urge everybody to follow Dan on social media. They have all these great testimonials. Here's one.
But college is like completely different. I was not ready for what college would throw at me. So having that guidance, that's what really got me through. Allowing myself, sometimes when you're in like the position of being a first generation student, you think, oh my gosh, I have to be perfect. And ScholarShot was like, hey, it's okay. Take it at your pace. Let's prioritize your mental health first. And then let's look at your classes. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Am I progressing correctly? Am I progressing to the pace that my classmates who, have the experience or have like parents who went to college are doing? Like, it just like gave me, an idea of that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, because you don't know. I didn't know.
And it is a 501c3?
501c3, fully tax deductible deductions for our donors. Our budget's about $1.4 million a year. Our auditor tells us we're right at 80% in terms of 8 cents on every dollar goes to the program. And it's a great joy to see these young people who have God-given potential, to see them reach and fulfill that potential with a career-ready degree.
Let's go back to your book, Fleece You. I don't imagine you're getting invited to speak to a lot of universities these days.
Well, it's interesting. There are some that have recognized, we've got to do a better job. We lose 75%, 80% of our low-income students. And we need those students here to improve the diversity and the impact of our university. The big schools are so bureaucratic that they're just going to take a long time to be held accountable. But the American public needs to wake up and hold their universities accountable to, if you enroll a student, take his or her grants and say, we are not responsible for your success. That attitude has got to be challenged and changed.
How are we doing here in Texas?
Not so well in Texas. So back to the career-ready degree, Texas graduates 360,000 kids a year. It's a big number. That's 10% of the national total. Yet only 46% of those kids attempt any post-secondary credential. And worse, less than a third, only 26% succeed, essentially 1 out of 4. Our workforce desperately needs HVAC technicians, electricians, plumbers, healthcare technicians, and those are 1 and 2 year degrees at a community college, and it's paid for. Why aren't those classes filled with 18-year-olds coming out of Texas public high schools? Because advisors don't talk about it. And we've got to change that dialogue.
So Dan, in the little time we have left, if a parent is watching this, if a young person is watching this, and they're interested, what do they do?
Go to ScholarShot.org. We're always looking for volunteers to mentor one-on-one with our scholars. If you are a high school senior or you graduated in the last several years, look to the upper right, click on apply. You can stop and start your application. It's all automated. And of course, we're always looking for donors, and you can donate right next to the apply button on the ScholarShot.org website.
Thank you so much for your time, Dan. This is truly inspired work.
Great.
We're going to end with the website, which is ScholarShot.org. Dan Hooper, thanks for coming on the show.
You bet, Jeff. Great to meet you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.